Hey folks, this is Griselda here, Priestess Lumen Sophia. How are you guys doing? How are you alchemizing today's chaos? Remember to always have that in the forefront of your awareness so that you won't feel like the unbridled forces of nature are going to come and get you, but that you have control from where you're at because you are your own alchemist. So don't forget that every day. Some days are harder to remember that, I know. And these days feel very much like we're being squeezed because we are. We are being pushed through a portal. It's like a push through the womb of death and rebirth. We are right in the midst of that, and we are being asked to be our own birth doulas and our own death doulas. And understanding how to do that with our own selves, then we can understand how and why this is occurring in the greater collective as well. So I just wanted to mention that. I also wanted to talk a little bit about my work with women and with the 7 Hermetic Principles. So I'm designing classes for 2021, some webinars as well, and I am doing right now some one-on-ones with women up until the new year around these 7 Hermetic Principles. And I want to talk to you a little bit about why I think this is the most important work to do for women right now. A lot of you guys, well, maybe not a lot of you guys, but some of you have been following me on social media for several years, and you know that I've come up with the hashtag Enabling Eve and Lilith the Liberator, right? So a lot of you have been doing this deep work, women who have been diving into the heroine's journey, Persephone's journey, the baptism of Inanna, going through these initiations, which really in this world we talk about initiations, we use the word trauma. But I like to reframe that, and I like to use the word initiations because when you think about that, when you look at it that way, doesn't it feel like these are soul initiations? Now, a lot of times people have a hard time with that, saying, that's just an easy way to get off, right? From all the suffering and the ways that women have been forced to suffer. I understand that. It is what it is, though, right? And if we are in this reality and we can't change what has occurred, then we can certainly change how we can use what has occurred. And that's what is the difference between, remaining in this victim state of mind and now towards the victorious state of mind, right? So from victim to victorious, we have to look at trauma as initiations because there's something there that you can use no matter how ugly it is. And maybe that's a lot of audacity, but I'm not speaking from a place of an ivory tower. I've been socially initiated in many, many ways on the margins as a minority woman, as a woman who grew up in the inner city, like in the barrio of San Antonio, Texas. The first to get my high school diploma, my immediate family, and college degree. I was raised by my grandparents. So there was a lot of shit stacked up against me already from the beginning, right? These intersectional oppressions and so on, if I'm going to use sociological language, right? So I mean, I went off, I was a scapegoat in my family, and I went off into the world, and I was a stripper sex worker, so there I was, more of a scapegoat. I'm not saying that to play a violin. I'm saying there is nothing that I have bypassed socially regarding forcing me to go through these experiences of all of these projections that are real from the world, right? That is living inside a certain hegemony. So I want to talk about hegemony some more another time. But for right now, I just wanted to bring all that up just as a reminder or new information for people who have never seen my videos or don't know anything about who I am or whatever. That this is where I'm coming from. So I'm not coming from a place of, it's easy for you to say, you know what I mean? Because that annoys me too when people have not been through a lot of these social initiations and they have the audacity to talk about love and light, which is not what this is. In fact, what this is the opposite. It's asking us women to it's forcing us to look at it like Clockwork Orange. You know what I mean? Look at the reality instead of the hope. Because if we look at the root meaning of the word hope, what is it? It's desire, right? And there's always going to be suffering and desire. So yes, it's hard to not have desire. We're human. It's fine. But to become aware, that's what it is really where the secret key is. It's okay if you feel whatever you feel. There's nothing wrong with what you feel, what you experience. There's nothing wrong with anything. It's just that if you want to lessen suffering and you want to deepen understanding, we have to learn how to start observing reality from a place of being realistic, right? We have to de-Disneyfy our minds, okay? So the 7 Hermetic Principles for me, when I have people reaching out to me and they want to, when I have women in particular reaching out to me and they want to embody or learn how to embody a lot of these different sort of dark archetypal feminine principles or archetypes, they want to understand more about the holy whore. They want to understand more about Persephone, Lilith, Luciferian energies. And they they talk about Eris with me. They talk about all these different dark goddesses and dark feminine archetypes and so on. It's just that a lot of women are feeling the call right now, right? That's what time it is in the As Above, So Below, because it's the return of the feminine principle towards attempting to find its balance, right? The issue that I can see occurring, though, is because a lot of times we haven't challenged our own deeper colonial seed. And what I mean by that is that there's an unconsciousness about the way we approach life. In that unconsciousness is a seed of morality that's been planted there by the church, right? By the seed of imperialism, which created colonialism, right? The colonialism is the manifestation of the idea that is imperialism. So we have already within it a false morality that is rooted in the church, right? It's the way that we have created codependency in the world to say that your liberation is not your responsibility. You have to give it to God. You have to just give it here and spiritually bypass and not do any of the grimy work yourself. Because if you just say, Jesus is king or Jesus is my savior, now you've just given yourself to the narcissist again. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying that Jesus was a narcissist. I'm not talking about him in regards if he was still really alive or walking the earth or he's an idea. That's not what's on the table here. That's another conversation. The whole point of me bringing that up is to make this point, and that subconsciously it has drawn women out of themselves and given so they can give their power away, give it away. So then we're always in a victim state. We're always waiting to get traumatized again, right? Over and over again. And we have no power, we have no control. And here we are, damsels in distress. So what I'm saying is that if you're feeling the call to understand Lilith, if you're feeling the call to understand any sort of dark feminine archetype that's been shamed and put in bondage, right, for so long, then what's going on is you're feeling the call to return to the other part of yourself, because women have been split in two, and then to the Madonna whore, into Eve and Lilith, and Eve is the colonized woman, and Lilith is the most natural woman. That's truly who she is. I made a video about how Lilith is not a demon, and that people who are continuing to embody that idea that Lilith is a demon are still working within this colonial framework, because they're responding and they're affirming what the old Jewish folklore about Lilith is, and that she was a demon because she rejected Adam and wouldn't get beneath him, right? So it's sort of still affirming that. To me, Lilith is unbridled nature. She is honestly the most pure-hearted feminine, honestly, because she's just here and doesn't have an agenda the way Eve does. So to me, Lilith is nature herself, and to me, the 7 Hermetic Principles make up her soul. So how are you going to understand who Lilith is and who nature is if you don't understand her laws, right? And I'm speaking from a spiritual scientific place, a spiritually scientific place. I'm speaking from the esoteric space and observing her soul through these 7 Hermetic Principles, right? Which are the laws of nature, which are the hidden secrets of how all things are hiding in plain sight. So to me, working with women around these 7 Hermetic Principles is foundational. So no matter what it is that you want to do with your own healing work, your own calling, whatever that is, if you don't understand these principles, you might still be working from a place of a colonized false morality, right? A place of good and evil, a place of right or wrong. There really is no evil in the world. There is only extreme imbalance, right? So this is what I mean about changing the language, observing reality from a place that is like a spiritual scientist, like a shaman, the eagle's eye, away from your feelings and away from your ego. And the reason it's so important, you guys, is because if you're able to start to cultivate that skill while remembering the framework of the 7 Hermetic Principles, which is truly an unbothered and uncompromised reality. This is the truth, a blueprint that lives in all of us, and hides in plain sight. It's been weaponized by the machine. I can go on and on about this forever. So anyway, I wanted to just make a little video about why I feel it's so important for women who are feeling called to this dark goddess place, or to an integration, right, of themselves to become whole again. Women who are called to embody these sort of dark spaces and integrate and explore them. I want to be able to help you come into a system that is unmovable, immovable, and uncompromising, so that you can use this as a yardstick to measure everything. Honestly, you can use this as a yardstick to see what is lying to me and what isn't, including yourself, and most importantly, yourself. How have you been lying to you, right? How have you been pretending where you should be authentic? This is all connected, folks. The way we are to ourselves is the way we will walk out in the world, and the way we will assume other people are too. And there's a lot of unawareness and unconsciousness that we are working from if we don't ground and we don't question our own assumptions and start to observe our behavior and our thoughts through the lens of, is this authentic, or is there some moralization of my assumptions or thoughts here, you know? And so these 7 principles of mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender. What does all of that mean? And what does it mean for me as a woman? What does it mean for me toward my own decolonization? Because women are the first human beings on the planet to be colonized. Women are the first to be enslaved. Women are the first to be put in bondage, right? And then we were all separated amongst our tribes. You see what I'm saying? So I want to get to this core, and from this place move from there to observe everything that's happening now, even in this postmodern society and all the postmodern social phenomena, to observe that even through these lenses to see, how did we get here? And the 7 Hermetic Principles can show us how. Because this is the foundational blueprint of the truth of nature, which is the soul of Lilith in my eyes. So if that helps to explain a little bit about why I feel so passionate about working with women and drawing them back to these Hermetic Principles, then let it be, because this is why I do it. This is foundational, and from here, everything else is born out of this with more integrity, right? More focus, more centeredness, more balance. So if you're interested in having me help you facilitate this one-on-one, let me know. Message me on Instagram. You can go to my website, criseldapacheco.com, and send me an email. Starting in 2021, I will be launching this through webinars, through classes, and I'll also be writing a book. So that should be done sometime next year as well. So how to decolonize ourselves as women, right? There's a lot of talk about decolonization right now when it comes to various racial groups, and that's important. But I want to take it down to this really root level here and pass through these spaces and talk about how this all happened to begin with. So that we don't, and then go through these spaces to see how it occurred, which means that we're not going to bypass anything. We're going to get to the root of stuff and then move from there. All right? All right, ladies. Hope you're well in the apocalypse. And yeah, thanks for listening, and I hope to hear from you. Bye-bye.